If you listen to the US media or you listen to US politicians talk about China, you would swear that China was like a hair trigger away from going to war with any number of its neighbors. They're constantly claiming that, you know, Beijing is bullying everyone in the region, and this is why the US needs to send its military thousands of miles from its own shores, actually occupy countries like Japan and South Korea, try to reoccupy countries like the Philippines, and constantly ply the waters of the South China Sea to stop China from bullying everybody, because it's such a huge threat to commerce and trade that is actually primarily between China and all of the other countries in the region, actually including supposed US allies, supposed enemies of China, Japan, and even Vietnam. And speaking of Vietnam, I wanted to point out this news article because it really will challenge this perception that China is at odds with everyone, and some people might say especially Vietnam. So let's take a look. This is from the South China Morning Post, but I got a couple of other articles too about this. Vietnam's Chinese-built metro line opens as Hanoi seeks to cut traffic pollution. The capital city is known for its dense crowds of motorbikes that make life perilous for pedestrians and a major source of air pollution. And living in Bangkok, I could tell you, living in a very large city with problems with cars and motorcycles, it's a huge health hazard, and anything to alleviate that is welcomed. And this article is actually from AFP, just as a technical note, republished by South China Morning Post. So this line took 10 years to complete, with its construction delayed several times due to safety issues and spiraling costs. But either way, it is now done, and now it is a huge use to the people of Vietnam, and specifically the residents and the people commuting to work in Hanoi. Now, this is an article from last month. Vietnam rail debt to China comes due, but trains don't run. And who's telling us this story? Radio Free Asia, which is U.S. State Department funded media. And this, if you're reading Radio Free Asia or anything like it, this is probably why you think China is a bully and everyone else is suffering in the region because of it. So this was in October, but now the trains are actually running. They are running and people are using them. So then there's this: China's bullying in South China Sea helped advance U.S.-Vietnam ties, says former envoy. And so just to give you a possible explanation as to why the U.S. constantly lies about the menace that China poses to everyone in the region and in the world, it's to advance U.S. interests. There's no doubt about that. That's not because they actually believe it or really think that China is some sort of threat or that the U.S. really is interested in standing up for other countries. It's to advance its own interests and its own control over countries, which is the ultimate irony. It's there to exercise control over Vietnam by putting it in the middle of this power struggle. And they're doing it not just to Vietnam, but to countries all across Southeast Asia. Just to give you an idea of how people in Hanoi are responding to this, this is media from Vietnam. Elbow to elbow, Hanoians queue up to try out new metro. Thousands of Hanoians stood in line, ignoring social distancing rules, to try out the country's first metro service. So it's not like an additional metro service or an extension of an existing one. It is their first one. So quite popular. People in Vietnam seem quite happy about this. And why wouldn't you? This is something that is obviously going to make life easier. The metro system here in Bangkok, there's a metro system and there's a SkyTrain system, and this has been constantly expanded. In the beginning, it was trains from, I do believe, Germany, and now there's a large number of Chinese-built rolling stock brought into the system. And of course, Thailand is building the high-speed rail line from Kunming through Laos. The Laos line is already complete, will be operational in December, and the line from there to Bangkok is under construction right now. So a lot of progress, a lot of building. Not so much evidence of bullying. I just thought this was an interesting story. I think it's great news for Vietnam. Development anywhere is great for everyone, everywhere. And it's also an interesting story to show how, despite there is a lot of rhetoric in Vietnam, anti-Chinese rhetoric in Vietnam, and there is this sense that there is this uneasiness between these two countries. But when you see stories like this, it's very clear that ultimately what's most important is cooperation and commerce. All other things put aside, these are things that China and Vietnam are working on anyway. So we'd like to see more of this, and we'd like to see more of this, and not necessarily less bullying, because there really is no evidence that that's happening, but less US interference, trying to create problems between countries like China and Vietnam, who can and are working together. If you thought this video was useful, please like and share it. Think about subscribing. It's free to do and it helps the channel grow. Check the video description for all of the links that I just went over, as well as for ways you can help support my work. To everyone who has been helping through Patreon, month to month, or one-time donations, or even if you're just helping share my work, I literally could not do this without that support. Through that support, I have been able to continue doing this now for over a year. I greatly appreciate that. So thank you, and as always, thank you for watching.